What's good, y'all? We're out here live and direct from Arashiyama, which means Storm Mountain, basically. I don't know how often it really storms around here, but I've been here a couple times. It's pretty cool. There's really only a couple of major things of note out here. There's the Monkey Park, which is like just up that way. There's a cool bridge, Togetsu. I'm not sure if that means the same thing as what I think it means, which is like Shangri-La. Maybe the bridge to Shangri-La or whatever. Maybe. I'll look it up. Also, the bamboo grove that you probably see in all the pictures. It's basically part of Kyoto. So anywho, kind of just wanted to talk about some things that might maybe get you thinking a little bit, because I'm certainly thinking about it. So today's topic, I guess I would title it, do it for them, right? And them is a air quotes word, do it for them. Who is them? Well, them is anybody. What am I getting at? Well, sometimes when it comes to drawing and motivation, it can be hard to do it for yourself, right? If you're struggling, you got Artblock all the time, or maybe you're just Artblocked a little bit right now in particular or something. Or even not. Maybe you're not really art blocked per se, but you're just kind of like, what am I doing this for? And you're kind of just going through the motions. And, this is kind of a nuanced idea. I don't want you to get the wrong idea, so I'll try to make sure to clarify what I mean. But, if it's hard to do it for yourself, maybe do it for somebody else. And I don't mean do everything for everyone else, right? I'm not talking about doing it for clicks, right? Whether it be retweets or likes or views, whatever it is on your platform or whatever. That's not what I mean, although that can be, if that's motivational to you, go for it, right? If it gets you creating, I think that's a good thing. But, aside from those kind of like metrics that we kind of always judge ourselves by, and we're always kind of getting down on ourselves by, aside from that, also consider do it for, there's a lot of people, right? Like your parents, or your friends, or your peers. And what do I mean by this? I don't necessarily mean go ask your mom or dad, or your brother or sister, or your best friend, hey, I don't really know what to draw. Can I draw something for you? Although, you can do that too. That's fair game. What I guess I'm getting at is more so the idea that what you do can affect other people. What you do can improve the lives of other people. You can make somebody's day. You can make somebody's week, year, life, right? Maybe that piece of art that you make or that creation that you come up with can radically alter somebody's viewpoint on life as a whole. You never know, And so where is this kind of coming from? Well, it's a little bit of a tangent, but I'm going to use my experience with learning Japanese. Over the course of this trip, now, first of all, actually, hold on, let me back up. You don't probably know me. I've studied Japanese for a long time now, and I have a JLPT N2 certification, which is basically the Japanese language proficiency test. I should probably not move the mic away from my mouth too often. N2 is basically the second hardest difficulty you can have, and that's about where Japanese companies are like, hey, if you have N2 or preferably N1, which is like, you're a badass at Japanese at that point, even by Japanese people standards, most likely. Then you could probably work for a Japanese company, right? So I'm up there. I've got about that much proficiency. Now, granted, I just barely passed. I would prefer to take it again and see if I can improve my score rather than just jump straight to taking the N1. But, well, my initial reasons for learning Japanese were pretty much just, I want to learn how to understand Japanese so that I can watch anime without subtitles, so that I can play those games that don't come to America, or are never localized, or are localized only, 10 plus years later or whatever, I wanted to be able to bypass that kind of stuff, and also come to Japan, hang out, live, make friends, etc. But, well, truth be told, I'm not perfect at Japanese, but I'm about as good as I care to get for myself. At this point, I can watch anime without subtitles. If it's Dragon Ball Z or Yu-Gi-Oh, something that's really simple and uses a lot of the same phrases again and again and again, yeah, I could do that, right? I could play a game if I want to, but I'm not good enough that it's effortless, right? I gotta put effort into it, and I guess the older I get, the more I kind of realize, well, I don't really care to learn that much more either. Even when I do translation stuff, I'm at the point where I could just wing it, right? If I don't know a word, I just look it up. And hopefully I'll remember it, but maybe I won't. So, as far as I'm concerned, my reasons for learning Japanese are sort of, well, non existent at this point. My needs have been met. But do it for them, right? Since I've been here, I've had the opportunity to interact with a couple of people, right? A shop owner around near Ginkakuji that I bought a shirt from. The taxi drivers that I have been taking to get around a little bit here and there. This older lady that I just bought a couple of hats for my, I guess you could call him nephew. I don't have any siblings, but I have a lot of cousins, so. And in these interactions, these are older Japanese people. They probably see a black guy walking around. They're probably just like, Most of the foreigners they've met probably don't speak Japanese. And in fact, that was confirmed by a Mr. Yamazaki Takayuki-san that I had the pleasure of riding with. And my Japanese has come in handy not just for my benefit, but also for the benefit of those Japanese people that I've been interacting with, right? It makes it a lot easier to interact with me as a foreigner, right? It's a lot easier on their conscience. Oh, great, he can understand. A tour that I had when I went to Daitokuji, I didn't really have a tour per se, but, there's a lot of attendants around this one Obain temple. I walk in, and of course they're kind of a little bit hesitant to talk to me. They're only trying to talk to me in Japanese, except for maybe a couple words in English here and there. But the fact that I can understand, right? So she's giving a tour to these two girls that are behind me, and I'm understanding most of what she's talking about. She's talking about Sen no Rikyu and Tokugawa Ieyasu and, all these, I know them from, Sengoku Basara or Samurai Warriors and stuff, but even that, right? Even having an interest in the Sengoku period of Japan and the Japanese that I know, and, she was just so happy. Oh, I'm so glad you can understand Japanese. She gave that whole explanation about this, nice sort of Zen place, and I was able to understand. And she was happy to be able to provide me that information, and she wouldn't have been able to otherwise, right? Same for Yamazaki-san, We had a nice conversation where he was like, wow, your Japanese is pretty good. Where do you come from? Oh, I come from America. He's like, wow, I've never been there. I've been to Europe a little bit, but, well, the sights are, I guess, cool, but I couldn't enjoy any of the food. None of the food was hitting for me personally, And just being able to have that sort of experience where I'm having a conversation with an 80-year-old man, taxi driver, that can't speak a lick of English, Same with the shop owner here in Arashiyama that I bought these hats from. I was able to go in and ask, hey, do you have any more of these hats? Do you have the one in this color that's on display? Oh, no, I'm sorry, that's the last one, and it's kind of faded because it sits out all day. I'm like, oh, okay, well, And we're talking, and we're having a conversation about dogs. She's telling me about her half Chihuahua, half Dachshund mix, and how it's an old fogey itself. She's an old lady, she said. She's 70, and in dog years, her dog is even older than her, and stuff like that. And I'm telling her about my dog, Tika, and how she's also getting up there in age. And, these are just conversations that would just be completely inaccessible to me if I didn't know any Japanese, right? And so when I say do it for them, I mean these people that you don't even realize you could impact, I think about it a lot. Being in Japan as a black foreigner, and I think about the image of a black man as seen from the lens of the outside world, outside of Africa or outside of America, where they don't see black people very often. I mean, I'm pretty much the only black person I've seen today. right? And for me to be the only black person probably that the old lady saw today too, and yet here I am having a conversation about dogs and about, different Japanese words for how to say cousin or how to say my cousin's son. She explained to me, itoko, that's the word for cousin. And I'm explaining my cousin has a male son, male baby son. She's explaining, well, the word for a cousin's son is hatoko. I'm like, well, I've never heard that before. And she's like, wow, isn't Japanese interesting? And I'm just like, yeah, cool. I've learned something new today. I don't know how much impact that's going to have on her life. You could really never know how much impact you can have on strangers that you'll probably never ever meet again. But I can't imagine that it's a small one, right? And then I actually bought some stuff from her. With the exchange rate, I'm not going to say how much, but some costly hats. But they were handmade, I believe, by her. I should have asked, did you make these? I asked if they were handmade. She said, yeah. These are not insignificant things. I mean, sure, she might be towards the end of her life, I guess, but I think it's important more than ever, especially as Japan is opening up in October 2022. It's important to set a good precedent for not only just foreigners abroad, but also black, male foreigners. And I'm glad that I can have that opportunity. And so similarly, I guess what I'm trying to say in terms of art is you never know the kind of impact, say, a birthday gift could have. You never know the kind of impact a fan art sent directly to the person that created that character or property. If you can actually manage that, I'm talking more maybe like the individual creator scale, not like send your fan art to Toriyama in Dragon Ball Z or Kishimoto for Naruto. I mean, if you have a favorite artist that you follow on Instagram or Twitter, being able to actually send them something cool and you put your heart and soul into it, and hey, you might not get a favorable response back, if at all. But that's not to say that you'll never get that or that you can't ever get that. You never know. You just literally never know. There's all sorts of artists out there that probably feel forgotten or passed by or overlooked. And a single piece of fan art could completely turn them around, Maybe they were going to quit. And you could be that person that says, wow, I didn't even realize my art has this kind of impact on people. That somebody would actually spend at least an hour, if not more, making something for me. Maybe my time hasn't been wasted doing this. You never know. And so to loop it back, I say, if not for you, do it for them. Them. All of them, right? Bless people to the best of your ability. And I'm not saying that everything you do for other people or whatever has to be a masterpiece. No, not at all. My Japanese isn't perfect, and yet I'm over here changing lives. Or so I'd like to believe. Changing impressions. Challenging stereotypes, right? You really don't know. So give it a try. I hope that helped you. I hope that opened your mind to some possibilities. The wonders and joys that life could have, life could bring. And, the possibility that you very well could be that joy in someone else's life. Don't count yourself out. You got this. And they need you. We need you. We all need each other. So next time you're feeling down, next time you're feeling like it's not worth it for you, like you're not getting anything out of this, never forget that it's always better to give than to receive. Do it for them. Later.